Secretary.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you. The ASEAN Centre for Energy, or ACE, celebrates International Women's Day every year to promote inclusivity and raise awareness of women's contributions in the energy sector. Guided by United Nations IWD 2026 theme of rights, justice, action for all women and girls. So this interview session aims to highlight and strengthen the visibilities of women's leaderships and decision-making roles. Excellency Secretary Garin, thank you for your time for today's interview.
You're welcome.
I would like to start with a personal story of you as the second female Secretary of Energy for the Philippines after almost a decade ago. You also have a very colorful CV. You have from attorney to accountant. You are certified public accountant, and now you're a legislator. So can you share your journey, and there are many moments, the key moments in your path into the current leadership roles here?
Before I got to this position, I come from a province of Iloilo in the Philippines, in a small town where everybody's my relatives. No? For me to get to certain positions, especially being secretary, I did everything I could do to educate myself. I have 3 degrees, law, accounting, and a master's in business. And that prepared me for whatever I wanted to do in my life. And with that list of degrees that I had, when I entered politics back in 2010, I was congresswoman for 12 years. It gave me the capacity, capability, as well as the confidence to excel. I was deputy speaker at one point in the House of Representatives. And now, the same thing, the same discipline, same education, the same capability, and improved over the years as a public servant. I think it came to this point. Now I am the Secretary of the Department of Energy, even though I come from a small town in Iloilo where everybody knows each other. So my point here is you just have to make sure that you're prepared for whatever ambition that you want.
Thank you, Excellency. Just as you mentioned, current role as a Secretary of Energy, and this year, important year for Philippines, and you are the chair of this ASEAN Minister of Energy meeting of AMIM. Yeah. So we in ASEAN have always acknowledged that women have yet to be well represented in this particular sector, energy sector, especially in leadership roles, as you are now. But what has this experience been like for you? And so you have to, push 110% harder, and now you're at the summit of the energy sector in the Philippines. And have you ever experienced a moment where you felt that you have to really prove yourself to the rest of the world more than others?
Yes, sir.
Or how did you respond, and how you stay grounded until today?
I think it's inevitable. No? There's always gender issues. Even though Philippines is one of the most progressive in the world, I think, in terms of women in the executive and in government. There are still mentalities, not anymore, I think. There are still some people that of previous generations that are still battling with this issue of women empowerment. If you have to assert yourself as a woman, and you think that it's because of gender, it's always that you have to study more, work harder, speak louder. It's always you have to exert more effort if there are issues, gender issues, because I think that's a disadvantage of a gender gap, let's say, that women have to work harder in order to be seen, to be respected, and for people to listen to them. I'm fortunate enough that in the Philippines, 80% of the people here are not threatened by gender or have issues with gender. No? But But I think that's the key. That's why I worked hard also for my education in winning all the elections that I went through. It's a doubled effort, I would say, in order to, for women to be in the position of parity.
It looks like come natural to you. Yeah, and we in the ASEAN always many real effort and action in the Philippines to strengthen this inclusivity within the energy sector. But we want to learn from you, Secretary. So, Department of Energy.
Yes,
so, what have you done to make this, reality?
The Department of Energy has not just done by me, but also my predecessors. There are always programs for young girls and for women development. Now, we have specific programs for that. But I think the mere fact that I'm a female and I lead a very male-dominated industry, I think that's a good encouragement already for many of our young girls, women, to be not threatened by this industry. I understand the situation where, like, I go to many conferences, international, that I'm the only female in the table. But I think that's enough inspiration that even a country like ours, which is not one of the richest or the most developed countries in the world, but we can do that. We are able to prove that we can have women in leadership. It's not just me. We've had women presidents in the country. We have several women as ministers now. It's a matter of giving the opportunity and giving them the proper merit. I have an extensive list of women that are working in DOE now in high positions, whether it's undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, bureau directors. And I think it is not because they are women, because they are really deserving of the positions. They're very competing with men or other people, no? They can compete well. So they deserve the position not because of their gender, but because of their ability.
Thank you, Excellency. Now I have a specific question
Yes,
on you as the chair today. So Amim, you in energy security, resilient energy transition is a major agenda for this chairship under you, and this is very complex issue. How would you navigate this year under your chairship?
These are very complicated issues that not only one country can solve, and not just a mere chairmanship can solve. What we have to always remember is that this energy security, however complicated or complex these terms are, it redounds to the fact that we have to make sure that every family is secure in energy. Meaning, kids can study at night, women can manage their households properly, they can work if they want to work, they have access to hospitals that have electricity, they have access to schools that have electricity, and because energy is a great equalizer. So at the end of the day, we always have to think about the households that we have to make sure that have energy security. Not just energy security, but affordability and sustainability. So that's the guiding point, I think. Our leaders, whether here in the Philippines and in ASEAN, have to remember that inclusivity that we have to be very conscious about. It's good enough that we have green power, that we have clean power, or we have a very modern system in our grid or in distribution. But what is more important is we deliver our service to those who are in most need. Because without that, that's just sugarcoating. So I want it to be more inclusive, and I hope that's why I'm so supportive of the ASEAN grid, because that will equalize and also make it more inclusive. So that is a good program, and maybe that will be down the line 10 years, 20 years. But we have to start it if we want to leave a proper legacy to all of the ASEAN member states.
Remember when we met in Kuala Lumpur, you talk about resiliency.
Yes, sir.
And this is particular one subject that important for Philippines to advocate this during your chairship. Would you want to elaborate more on resiliency aspect here?
There are several things that we have to be resilient here in the Philippines now. Last year alone, just for a specific example, we have 12 months, and 6 months of that is typhoon season for us last year. And you can see the devastation and the effect on the people on like just charging their phones when all the power lines are down. And it happened 6 months of the year. So resilience is quite important in the sense that technology, build better, and also the collaboration of all. Better technology, meaning we have the technology now to predict what is the effect of the weather or any disaster. We have to use the AI, for example, in order to predict how to prepare. And second is to build better. We have to make it more resilient in case of the weather, the wind is 300 kilometers per hour. At the same time, we have to collaborate. Here in the Philippine setting, we collaborate with all the agencies. We work with Department of Social Welfare, we work with the Department of Health, communications, in order for us to come together and be more resilient. And I think in an ASEAN level, it can be done also. We have to have mentorship, share knowledge, each have strengths so that we can help each other. In the same way that the Department of Health is strong in the health issues, social welfare, in giving support when there's emergency, DICT communications in order for them to be able to communicate with their loved ones. It's the same way that ASEAN has to assess ourselves. What is Singapore good at? What is Indonesia good at? And what is Malaysia good at? And the rest of the countries. Because at the end of the day, when we need each other's help, everybody has something to contribute. And I think that's resiliency on an ASEAN level.
Excellent definition, excellency. Just a couple more to have a message to the young next generation. We know that many of young generation, including girls and young women, are interested to take part in this energy sector and also in STEM.
Yes, sir.
If you can give them a message, what we say to them to get them to join us in this sector, especially when they don't yet see many women in this reading roles like you.
I'm not a STEM product. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a scientist. But I learned this over my past experiences and my current position also. Women can do this. In fact, women can lead energy. And I have seen it in many of our companies here. That many women are so involved in energy. We have to forget our gender and just be good engineers, be good scientists, be good technicians, because that's what the country needs. Country doesn't choose between a female and a male engineer. Take the opportunity, keep learning, but at the same time, I would like to remind also the women that are already in position or are of older generation, let's say. I always really believe in mentorship, even as a politician, as a member of the House. I always mentored the younger ones, but I made it a point to expose and to teach, let's say, the congressmen that are new.
You like a training your future leader?
Yes, I always did, like, included them in our forums so that they learn and they gain confidence on what thing they can deliver to the country. And I think we should continue this because the younger ones are the future of our country or our region. So I think the women in position now also has the obligation to mentor our next women leaders in energy. And that is why here in DOE, if you see even our social media, our communications, we made it younger because we want to attract more and we want to mentor more younger engineers, younger students, so they become interested. Because energy really is not just for men.
It's not exclusive here.
No, it's not. And it's, in fact, one of the most exciting industries now. It's very dynamic, very progressive. Innovation there is so fast that our policies have to keep up. So it's a good opportunity for women all over the country and all over Asia.
Never a dull moment in energy sector.
No, it's a balancing act of not of gender, but it's a balancing act of different stakeholders.
Yeah. I have one final
Yes, sir.
question, if you may. Excellency, what is the most important lesson from your own journey that you would like to pass on the future leaders, or will be women's or men's,
Yes, sir.
in the Philippines and across ASEAN?
My most favorite person in the world is my father. I was mentored by him, but he passed away already. But his lesson is always, do not only repay kindness, pass it on. It's not about material things. It could be, but in the same sense that knowledge, ability, no? Especially hard work, you can pass it on also. What I would like to leave as being a secretary now of a very male-dominated industry is whenever you have the chance, you pass on the kindness that you receive. That's why I have great respects for Secretary Popo, because he mentored me during my predecessor. No? He mentored me while I was undersecretary, and many other personalities that I have met, and I passed that on. So I hope we have that visibility. We don't work just for today or for the next 3 years in the Philippines just for this administration. We pass on good working habits, innovation. We pass on grit, hard work, a sense of idealism and love for country. I think that's how leadership should be, that our future leaders are ready. So I hope that that redounds not only in the Philippines, but I think for the rest of the region, because I do hope that when I step down as Secretary of the Department of Energy, I do hope that I have made a difference, not just for our stakeholders, but for every household that we are trying to deliver our services to.
On that inspirational note,
Thank
let's
you, sir.
end our conversation.
Thank you, sir.
Excellency.
It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
you.